Hi, I'm Valerie Kabov, and I'm co-founder and co-director with Marcus Goro of First Floor Gallery Harare. First Floor Gallery Harare is a contemporary arts and educational space in Harare, Zimbabwe, and we focus primarily on developing and fostering careers of emerging artists in Zimbabwe and beyond. So while the gallery was founded in 2009, me personally, I've been involved in arts, to be honest, since I was born. I'm probably a third generation, art professional. My grandmother ran an artist salon. My father was an art critic and documentary filmmaker. My mother is a musician. So there was never a time that art was not a part of my life. So even though I trained as a lawyer, at a certain time in my life, I decided that art had to take, a primary role because it is something that I've always been passionate about. I think that owning an artwork is a particular blessing because you're gaining an opportunity to literally own a piece of someone's soul, which is extraordinary. So in many ways, every artwork that you acquire and I own is somehow life-changing. In particular, I'm often find myself acquiring works that are not necessarily style typical of the artist, but have a unique kind of difference. For instance, I own a really incredible, rather ghostly portrait by Richard Butler Bowden, which is atypical for the kind of portraits that he makes, but it speaks to a lot of the undercurrents that inform his work and that I find particularly special. I'm also really, really proud to own the work hanging behind me by Gresham Tapio and Yaude, which is extraordinarily kind of monolithic in color orientation at first glance, and is very, very subtle compared to most of his works, but speaks really deeply to a particular moment in time and history, which I really, really admire. And my most recent proud acquisition, which is again not necessarily typical, is an incredible spray paint and oil on canvas by Wycliffe Mundopa, which is the ultimate orange, and almost everyone in the gallery knows that orange is my favorite color. So when I saw that piece, I was like, yes. And it's definitely drawn a lot of attention, not just from me, but even my 6-year-old son, when it was delivered to the house, immediately picked up a phone to take a picture of it. So that is definitely a conversation point painting. A long time ago, a colleague told me that the best thing you can do is to collect your own artists, and which is not a difficult thing on so many levels, because I personally love every single artist that we represent. So over time, I am building up a solid collection of everyone's work in the stable, with a floating charge on some pieces from some artists that I haven't acquired yet. They're just hovering to see a work that particularly speaks to me. At the same time, my personal taste tends towards the minimal, and so I have an abstract. So I have a particularly minimal and lovely work of Helen Teeds that we have in the house, which has some allusions towards Mark Rothko, whom I consider to be God. So that has a special place in my heart. I also recently acquired a small work by Jonathan Fremantle, who's a friend as well as an excellent artist, and as well as most recently a small work by a Namibian woman artist called Nikki Murray from Guns N' Rain Gallery, who I think has an incredible potential as a as a woman modernist, and Nikki's based in Namibia, I'm particularly thrilled to be acquiring a work of hers. I think the advice that I would give to those wanting to buy work, first and foremost, is to be really, really honest with yourself about your motivations. I think anyone buying work, especially from living artists, is doing a great thing, regardless of your motivations. However, your motivations play a really important role in what kind of work you're going to buy and what kind of selection of work a gallerist can offer you, right? So if you're looking to buy a work for investment and for a return, you will be looking at a different selection of work if you're looking to buy work to support an artist, regardless of the reason, your reasons. Buying work is always a good thing. It's a very special gift that keeps on giving. But it gives more if you're supporting a living artist and if you're in love with the work that you're buying.